What's up, y'all? Guess I should mute that. So I'm live on Instagram and I'm also live on YouTube. And everybody is getting the notifications now that I am going live. So if you're with me right now, let me know how my sound is. I'm live at Baba's Vegan Cafe in LA. So there's very busy traffic in the background, and it's a wide open space. So let me know how you guys can hear me. And I really want to turn on some vibration music in the background, but I don't even know if that will matter. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay, Naturally Clever says sound is clear. Hey, what is the plan for Black America in the Western society? It's getting worse, y'all. How about peace? ZaZa, how are you? It's good to see you. Thank you for sharing your time and energy with us today. I hope you're well. How about we send a little bit of love out before we just get right into the nitty gritty? That would be a wonderful thing. But let me tap in and make sure, because I'm toggling back and forth between Instagram and YouTube. Okay, shout out to my Instagram family. Shuckum Rob, peace to the God. How are you doing, my brother? They said my sound is good. Energy is everything. Yes. Okay, so I am live right now at Baba's Vegan Cafe. And yeah, I wanted to tap in with you guys. It's been, I don't even remember the last time I went live from a public location, which is actually my fault, because when I did the event here on November the 1st, how you doing? When I did the event here on November 1st, my plan was to do it live and to show you guys the whole experience. But when I got here, I decided to just focus on the people that were present and the energy and kind of cultivate that, and then do a follow-up, my next event, which is here on the 13th, and I will record. I will be live with that one now that I have the sort of lay of the land and I've already done an event. So that was a mouthful. I have my camera kind of set up because I wanted you guys to see the activity in the background with the staff and everything, but I didn't actually ask for permission to do that. So let me see if it matters if I move my camera around. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Because I didn't ask anybody if they wanted to be on camera. I just did it, right? Okay, so let me do that. Okay, I feel like that's better, so that people can choose to be in this shot or not. And let me just make sure. Come back to YouTube. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. All right, I see you guys in the YouTube chat. I'm back now. Just trying to make sure I got all my T's crossed and my I's dotted. How y'all feeling? Peace, East 49. Peace, Rudy. Peace, Keith Williams. I mean, not that I meant to say your whole government name, but we can all see it, so it's not like it's a secret. What's up, UFO? Peace and love. How you doing? Kim Folk Music was good. Thank you so much, Kim Folk Music. I appreciate you. Anita said the sound is good, but it's freezing a little. So that's just hopefully something the algorithm, as time passes, will help me to keep smooth and consistent. I'm on a Wi-Fi connection, so hopefully we'll get a consistent signal. Excuse me. Wiggleman, what's good? How you doing? I said UFO, Kinfolk, all of my family on Instagram, all of my people on YouTube. I just wanted to go live and to do it in this space, because this is somewhere that I spend a lot of time and that I'm going to be spending a lot of time, especially with the monthly events that I'm doing here, which I am calling and considering. I'm on Western Avenue, y'all, so bear with me with it. I actually think the sound in the background adds for good, it makes for good TV. Let you guys know I am here live, and if you're in the area, you can actually stop by. But the event here once a month is my sort of love letter, if you will, or love offering to the city of Los Angeles, which has been very good to me. And I have a very strong tribe and energy of people. I've lived in different places all across the country. But if I could say the one city that has really truly, I mean, Atlanta too, of course, it's like my second home. But when I say there's a kin energy and a tribal connection that I have with certain people here, it lets me know that, and it's probably that California thing too, because I'm from Oakland. So I've been coming back and forth from Oakland to LA for a long time now. So the connections that I have here, the network that I have here, the family, including Baba's Vegan Cafe, where I can just come set up my books and turn on my camera. And my brother is very supportive of me in that regard. I'm very thankful for that. So having access to this space where the community can come together. And this is something that I always notice, anytime we have events, whether it's workshops, whether it's public speaking engagements or, panel discussions, there's always this underlying this question that's always either said directly or implied indirectly, like, we're tired of talking about the problems. What's the solutions? What's the solutions? But one thing that I know for sure, and which is why I wanted to do this event once a month here and be consistent with it, is that many, if not most people, do not feel heard, do not feel valued, do not feel seen, right, in their lives. And they're struggling with everything that's going on in the world, the macrocosm of the chaos and the density in the world, but then also trying to find some inner peace, trying to find some continuity of peace and a strong semblance of self and connection to source, right? Connection to the Most High, connection to tribe, able to have the type of energetic resonance and mindset and frequency where you can attract people that are of like mind and of like spirit, right? Which is what all of us are craving now more than ever. So again, going back to the reason for doing that, we are tired of talking about the problem. What's the solution? If you're dealing with people who are not consistently feeling seen and feeling heard and feeling valued and don't feel rooted in anything, that has a strong foundation, then sometimes us just coming together and listening to one another and making sure that we all feel seen and heard is the solution. And even when I did the previous video, the previous event here, and when I was at Soul Folks and we had the Q&A there, again, there's this ongoing emphasis on like, we need right now solutions, right now solutions. Well, one of the sort of missteps that we've had since the civil rights movement is we've been trying to build institutions on the backs of broken people. And if you've been listening to my content for any amount of time, you've heard me say that a lot because I know it to be true. And so every time I do the Q&As at my event, someone always ends up, getting emotionally overwhelmed or talking about some deep pain or some deep trauma or, feeling alone, not having tribe, not feeling connected to God, to source. When I do my consultations with hundreds of people over the past 5 years, there's this ongoing void, especially for those of us that are still reaching for the light. There's this ongoing void that's sort of strong, especially for Black people in America, especially for Black women in America, and especially for my center, especially for those of us, again, that are constantly reaching for the light and constantly striving to be connected to something greater than ourselves. So I don't know if you guys can see, but I got my Frances Cress Welsing shirt on today, honoring the ancestor. And she was a very strong, pivotal figure for me in terms of wanting to be an intellectual, in terms of being able to see what it looks like for a woman to just be strong in her in her scientific and in her analytical and sort of like intellectual knowledge. That shit was just so fly to me. And so when I saw her in action and when I read her book, she was a model and an example for me in terms of the direction that I went in. That's why I know it's so important what I do, because I know that there are girls and young women and women in general that are looking for like a different representation of what womanhood can and should feel like and how we're experiencing it. And in this timeline in 2025, where Satan is on 10, because Satan is on 10, 10 or 10,000, depending on which person you ask. But that means that God has to be on 10,000 too, right? Not to match. This is not outwit, outsmart, outplay. That's too petty and too low level for God consciousness and Christ consciousness. But if they are magnifying fear, if they are magnifying hatred, if they are magnifying ignorance and darkness and low vibrational energy, then we need to magnify love. We need to magnify intelligence. We need to magnify sovereignty. We need to magnify a higher level of, I almost said excellence, but I think excellence is one of those words that's just watered down now. It doesn't really have any oomph to it. We need to be embodying and representing that walking your post in a perfect manner. You know, that walking into a room and being able to shift the frequency and shift the energy. That's why I'm always talking about grid stabilizers and energy stabilizers, because I'm a grid and an energy stabilizer. This environment and this institution and this space of health and well-being is a grid stabilizer in South LA. And if you've been here and if you've tried the food, you know that, right? And there's different people amongst us and light beings all across this country that kind of resonate with that, and that applies to as well. But I've been talking for a minute and I'm talking fast, so let me tap in with you guys in the chat room and see how you guys are doing, how y'all are feeling. If you have any questions you want me to answer, drop them in the chat room. Since it is Friday, Black Friday, and since it is, you know, less about the consumerism post Thanksgiving holiday and more about supporting Black people, supporting Black consciousness, supporting Black intellectualism and greatness. I have a sale going on right now for Black Friday and all of this weekend. All of my books are here. If you're in the Los Angeles area, you can come through and I'll sign them for you and, you know, and tap in with you face to face. But Ancient People, the hardcover is on sale for $99. The soft cover, which I'm going to show you guys in just a second because I changed it up, is turquoise. And then I've got my Keys to Womanhood and Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance and Black Matters Volume 1, Volume 2. All of those books I have here with me. And then I also have them on sale. And so I put that in the link in the description. It should be there. I'm looking at both pages, between Instagram and YouTube, trying to make sure. So you guys make sure you support my work, support what I do, because I am really kind of just getting started with creating beautiful and intricate and well-researched content and intellectual property. Not just intellectual property, but intellectual property, okay, to raise the bar. So all of us are supposed to be playing our position and doing our job to raise the bar across the board. Yes, as Black people, yes, as Black people in America, but then as students of the Most High, as soldiers of the Most High. Like, you can't tell me I'm not a soldier for God. You know, and you don't have to type in the comments and tell me that God is dog backwards and where the name originally came from. You can replace God with whatever your highest and best representation of the Most High, the universe, the all in all source, the Neteru, the Elohim, Christ consciousness, the force, the source, whichever one you're most comfortable with. Allah, I support and represent them all. But then the most relative response for me would be I am that I am. That's my real representation of what God or source is. But if I said that and use that as my response, then that would be a whole different, we'd be having a different conversation because most people don't see it from that space. But that to me is the highest and best representation of what we call God. So let me tap in with the chat room and see how you guys are doing. What's up, Instagram? Peace, everybody. Look upon me with compassion. Any donation gives me hope. So yeah, we're not doing that. Let me just remove that. Ahmed. It's been so long since I've been live on Instagram. I don't even know how to delete the comments anymore or to block someone. Black Samurai, what's good? Let me see if I can put this person in timeout. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I was live on YouTube. I mean, excuse me, Instagram. Hang on one second, YouTube. Okay, am I still live? I think I'm still live on Instagram. I don't know what the hell just happened. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I was live on YouTube. And I definitely don't want to hear myself. I mean, excuse me, Instagram. Hold on. Hang on one second, YouTube. Okay, I must. All right, so I'm going to assume I'm still live on Instagram because, yeah, I don't want to hear myself. I'm just tapping in with you guys in the chat room real quick. Peace, ZaZa. I haven't been able to catch one of your lives in a minute. Very happy to have you here. I think my brother Sheikh Murad is in this chat room too. I'm not sure. You're so West Coast. This is a fact. You know? I definitely am, but I love the West Coast. And that's, I think I was saying that and then I got sidetracked. I went off on a soapbox, but intentionally being of service to the LA area right now is something that God and source has really been compelling me to do. I'm still working on the girls event in the LA area. I'm going to do that at Soul Folks probably in March. And it's going to be a really, really like my concept of it in my mind, which I want to do initially in LA and then take it across the country. But maybe I shouldn't even say it out loud. Yeah, I'm not going to even say it out loud. I'm just going to wait and put it together and let it marinate. And then I'm going to create a, it's going to be like the template and do all of the video footage and whatnot so I can promote it in the right way. But basically having an event for 50 girls in the Los Angeles area. And I'm talking about the girls who need, input and insight and attention the most, right? And particularly the ones that everybody say are unreachable. Well, I have a knack for reaching those type of girls, So doing an event for 50 girls and young women age 13 to, I want to say 21, but then something in me wants to say 18, so I'm not quite clear on that yet. I do think having that range from 13 to 21 is like a good thing because the 21s have something to teach the 13-year-olds and the 13s have something to look forward to. So it'll probably be 13 to 21, but it's all going to be centered around my workbook, Keys to Womanhood, and health, wellness, hygiene, boys, love, the way you take care of yourself, your reputation, the impact of music. But then also, because I'm going to, we'll have the books, we're going to give them to the girls and I'm going to create a presentation around that. We're going to do exercises together around that. But then also, I'm going to have other elements included in that as well. Let me come back to Instagram real quick and see if I'm still live. I think I am. I don't even know how to figure out. Let me see. Okay, yeah, I was live. And I don't know what happened. Let me see if I can get it back on. Okay, there we go. There you guys go. All right, cool. So I don't know how far behind I am or how much of that you guys caught, but I accidentally, in trying to block that person, logged myself out. So let me come back to my point here. With the event for girls and being intentional about that and starting that here in LA because it's my base right now and because this is one of those places that needs it the most. Somebody in the chat room just asked me, am I going back to Oakland? Yes, I always go back home, but I also want to do this type of event in Oakland myself. And that'll probably be my next stop. I probably know 50 girls just off the top of my head from, family or friends and connections that I can have be a part of that. But again, I want to create a blueprint and a template and to show our daughters and our young women that we can still be fly, that we can be highly intelligent, that we can be observant, that we can be, scientists and mathematicians and great thinkers and great leaders and still be beautiful and sexy and classy and not objectify ourselves and not go out of our way. Like there's way too the energy of how much people are doing to get into attention right now is just very startling to me. Um, I need a hardcover of Ancient People for the full price. Much love. I appreciate you because you dropped a super chat when you said that, and we can make that happen. That's an easy thing actually. But I am running a sale right now, and I would love for you to take advantage of that. And if you purchase the hardcover right now, it will ship out in 48 hours. The paperback, which I'm going to show you guys shortly when I share my screen, but it is a beautiful turquoise. I took the spiral spine off. It's a turquoise soft cover, and it's made like the hardcover, except it's a paperback. But the color is so pretty and vibrant. I can't wait for you guys to see that. The paperback's on sale for $88. The hardcover is on sale for $99. You can go right to my website, my store, and on the store, I've already put the sales prices up. Those books are on sale, as well as Keys to Womanhood, Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance, Black Matters Volume 1 and 2. So if you have females or young teenagers or young men, young women that need some type of literature, but something of substance and value, that's why I made these workbooks. They're intentionally not just for you to read and take in information, but to also look at yourself, to analyze, where you are on the scope of your emotional well-being, mental well-being, physical well-being, right? So yeah, Keys to Womanhood is on sale for $25. Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance, $25. Black Matters Volume 1 and 2 are on sale together for $25. And again, my website information to get a copy of all of those things are there. So we talk a lot about the coming of the age of Aquarius. We talk a lot about our ancient civilization and ancient peoples, and how much we respected the matriarch, and how much we, the whole matrilineal aspect of who we used to be. But then we look at the present situation and circumstances and see how low women have fallen in their consciousness, and how they're representing in the world. And this is all the more reason, not only for me and women like me, but for those of you guys who are listening and who are tapped in and who are present. What's up, Societe? By the way, I responded to your slick comment, and I told you if you want to be slick with the tongue, you can cash at me and pay extra for the slick talk. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I just got triggered when I saw your name. That's why I said that. And that's a bad thing for me to get triggered when I see your name. I should feel inspired by people who have been watching me for a long time. But yeah, and eventually I want to do a boys version and a young man version of that as well. And I'll be doing my thing as a woman, but then I'll also have men that I respect that are present that can also, bridge the gap. Because I do think it's important for women to do events where we're teaching girls and teaching women, but I also think it's important for men and boys to have and to be able to learn from and resonate with women in positions of authority, not authority over you. You guys don't get your pennies in a jiffle. Don't get upset. I'm saying positions of authority, like teaching, like all aspects of society. So yeah.
Peace.
Peace. How y'all doing?
Good.
I lost my train of thought. Females being able to teach boys and men and vice versa. So in me doing an event for boys like that, that would be the intention behind that, If you guys have any questions you want to ask me, put them in the chat room. Let me come back real quick to Instagram and see how you guys are doing. You guys have to bear with me because I don't know how to block this person in the chat room on Instagram. So just ignore them. I don't want to end my my live again trying to figure that out. What's up, Fahim? Peace, Firehouse Juice. What's good? Belize Bound, Peace, Rock Nation. Sunshine was good. J Floss. Peace to everybody in the chat room. The Lady Don, how you doing, sis? It's good to see your name and your face. Shechem Ra, what's good, King? Yeah, Ahmed is tripping. It might be a troll. It might be a bot.
ties into colonialism, racism, and everything else. I'm talking about that Saturday. How it ties into
I didn't even do anything, and I came in peace and still got treated. Peace. How y'all doing? There was something else specifically I wanted to talk about. Let me see. And when we come together and do events like the one that we're doing on December 13th, again, even with the intention for girls, is to make sure that we're all, really being seen and heard. The authentic self was the thing I wanted to say. Let me write that down. And I was talking to my client about this the other day because you hear a lot of conversation about the authentic self, and like now is the time for the authentic self to shine through. But what does that actually mean? Like, what does that mean for you as a man, as a woman, as a, who you've become through your family and your upbringing versus who you are authentically? Peace. Peace, everybody in the chat room. Fahim, what's good? I'm just kind of toggling back and forth to make sure I'm tapping in with you guys. I've been live for like 28 minutes now, so we're still in a good time zone, in a good timeline. But yeah, the authentic self, what that means in this day and time, when the spiritual warfare is, increasing by day, when people are unraveling, when there's so much lack-based consciousness in the news and on social media and in conversation. I was listening to a podcast earlier that was talking about economics and Black economics in particular, and what he's saying is right on a surface level in terms of where money goes and gentrification and the specifics of what's happening in our communities. But it was just nothing inspiring. It was so much lack-based conversation and focus and emphasis. And I was like, we don't understand. If we understood how frequency and vibration and energy worked, we would be a lot more careful and conscientious about how we talk and about how we speak. And the scariness of the times, or the magnifying all of the fears that these people are projecting on us, And so, for example, when Malcolm X said, the Black woman is the most feared, the most disrespected, the most ... right? And so thank you. See that's, but you called me Delilah. Society sent me a cash app, but he called me Delilah. So now you need to get double taxed. But the timeline that we're in, the spiritual warfare, the continuous focus on like mentally and emotionally and spiritually attacking our people, and how they've created a world that harnesses that energy, that feeds off that energy, to where like Karen, the concept of a Karen, which is a white woman that's looking for a reason to, go into a racial tantrum. The concept of a Karen, think about the Matrix, and wow, I'm on Western, y'all. Some of the things you see over here. The concept of a Karen, and like that being a program that is active in the Matrix that can pop up anywhere, or that can, sort of that spirit can take over a white woman anywhere, right? And we see it all the time. I ran into a male Karen a few months ago, and I was like, yeah, it's definitely time for me to leave West Hollywood, because I don't run into this type of energy. But that race-based dichotomy, and how it's like on its last leg. So it's trying to stay alive and defend itself by any means necessary. This is why we can't be anti anything. I think I just saw a sister right outside this window of where I'm at right now. I think I just saw a sister get in the car and she getting ready to go turn the trick. And not that that's relative or important to anything that we're talking about, but it is relative and important because she gets in, a brother pulls over in a car right here. She's dressed like she's playing her position. She gets in the back seat of the car. while I am talking about, or on the heels of talking about, first of all, what when society called me Delilah, right? Which he does that to get under my skin and to make sure that I'm paying attention to him. It's like a little passive aggressive temper tantrum. But on the heels of him using that word, because we know he's not talking about me, and at the same time, me act, in the middle of talking about the pendulum swing of the age of Aquarius. Not that we're in it now, but that this wave of consciousness that we're in now is the building blocks of what will create that particular timeline as the spiritual world works and the vibrational world works. Um, you know, he,
I was answered by my mother. You will see the morning star. It beams for just one moment in the sky, and it shines forever after. Deep in the mother's eyes. That's where I learned how wise all mothers are. There in my mother's
I was just taking a minute for you guys to hear the singing in the background. But the point about the age of Aquarius and us coming back into this middle point where women are supposed to be regaining their footing and their self-awareness and their sort of power center and being a power source, right? The same way a battery is a power source, the same way you plug a extension cord into a wall socket, that's a source of energy, a source of power, right? The same way that a solar panel on a rooftop is a source of energy, and through the sun, sort of taking in the sun's energy, it can harness a certain level of power and empower your tools, empower the things around you. Women, by nature, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, are power sources. But our power has been drained and doesn't maintain what it originally was supposed to represent, because there's major energy harnessing off the souls of Black women in particular, the minds of Black women, the wombs of Black women, the melanin of Black women, the consciousness of Black women, right? And so that's why really the Cardi B's of the world, the Megans, that concubine culture and frequency, it to me is a representation of, like, women are tired of trying to fight for that goddess position, fight for that queen energy, fight for that respect, fight for what should be rightfully ours, but we're no longer embodying, so we're not sort of getting the recognition for that. But a lot of these women are exhausted in trying to be great, or exhausted in trying to be seen, or exhausted in trying to be heard, which is again another reason for having these type of events where we come together and have the conversations and say the things to one another that we need to say. As women say the things to men, that was a great thing about the last event that I had here. Always that face-to-face interaction between myself and men and our brothers, and sort of bouncing that masculine and feminine energy off one another. And I'm always very happy and grateful to hear our men represent themselves, and speak, and to be balanced, and not just focusing on self-love, right? Not just focusing on taking care of everybody else, not just focusing on what we perceive to be manhood, but like really, what does self-love actually mean? What does taking care of myself actually mean? And we're redefining that in 2025. So again, having these meetings where we come together and have these conversations, and heart-to-heart conversations, are important, you know? Yes, it is a lot where I'm going on, Matthew, but that's the beautiful thing about being, live, is that, and we're where I'm off 67th and Western, so this is South LA. So, anything that you could possibly think of that could be going on in the ghettos of America, or urban environments, or in a major city in LA, or in the world, is happening in this direct vicinity right now. So again, I just saw a sister get in the car, and I'm 99% sure that she was going to put some work in, And so just being a witness to that, while I'm talking about the age of Aquarius, topics about queens and goddess and the bigger picture of womanhood and our roles and our responsibility, and even as there's a lot going on in this direct environment, still being able to maintain a certain energy and frequency, because I set the tone. Just like any woman and any man that is operating in their true nature and in their true sense of self, you set the tone for the energy and vibration around you. Somebody said, is that your son? No. Somebody else said, you said men don't listen to you. Why do you feel that? I didn't say men don't listen to me. I said I've had a lot of conversations as of late with men, not talking about me in particular, but talking about the male-female dichotomy, and how in a lot of those conversations, it does not feel like our men are listening. And I don't even think a lot of the reason for that is because they're so used to not being heard. So they're continuously talking in conversations to women that are talking at them and yelling at them and screaming at them, or, you know, this is like this ping pong ball effect where nobody's listening to anything. And so I think that a lot of that energy is born out of the fact that they don't feel like women are listening to them. So when you have one present that's actively listening, that's paying attention, that cares what you think, that cares how you feel, a lot of times it's hard to receive that. That's what I said. Your voice is powerful and beautiful. Your honey dripping. Thank you, Derek. You could have said that in another way, but thank you. I appreciate you. The woman is the original government. I think the woman who is able to govern herself is the original government. I think that our concept of matriarchy versus patriarchy, of monarchies, and like, you know, who's the ruling class, or who's, you know, is it a queendom or a kingdom, and all of those timelines have been necessary, but they've run their course. And this thing we call fifth dimensional reality is about self-governance. So women who are governing themselves are going to be the best representation of leadership moving forward for men and women, because of the timeline, taking nothing away from the importance of manhood and the role that they're supposed to play. But you guys have been in power. You guys, beyond race, that's another conversation. But yeah, it's the timeline shift that we're in, and it's not just about men versus women, and that's where we get caught up a lot. This is talking about masculine and feminine and male and female. We're talking about a different level of existing, where men aren't so out of alignment with themselves, where suicide and depression and anxiety and stress and prostate cancer and all of the things that we, you know, everybody's like, men, you know, mental health month for men, right? We need a month, or we need, you know, classes and programs and conversation and content that's purely focused on men's health and well-being. And it's a strong cry and a strong push for it. Well, why? Because we have a society, men that are not well adjusted, that are not balanced, that are not happy, that are not thriving, that are not connected to source, that don't really truly love themselves in a deep and profound way, beyond the family dynamic, beyond the fatherhood dynamic, beyond the husband dynamic. That's a critical component of it, because self-love is along with the love dichotomy between a man and a woman, but like self-love is the cup that you pour from. Signing up for your class now. Much love. I look forward to seeing you soon. You should never get exhausted. You are noticed and appreciated. Well, I appreciate that, but exhaustion is par for the course in a timeline where a prophet is least honored in his or her home. Exhaustion is kind of par from the course. It goes with the territory, but it's all good. Z is everywhere, and y'all ain't never there. I'm not everywhere, but I'm definitely present. But I like the bars, though. I pray your word reaches everyone it needs to reach with understanding, grace, and knowledge. I appreciate that. Peace, ZaZa. You should be in the Leimert Park district. I was just at Leimert Park recently, and I'm going to be doing some more events. December 13th, I think, is the date of the something coming up there that I'm going to be a part of, and then also working on the girls' event. Do you believe in telepathy? Yes, I do. And there is multiple forms of telepathy. What is your skincare routine? What is my skincare routine? Gentle cleanser, and yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to you on that because my brain is in different space right now. But I will say that my skincare, my skin quality, and health of it is a lot based on how I eat. So again, me being here at Baba's Vegan Cafe and being intentional about eating plant-based, high vibration, food that comes from that's well cooked, that's created with love, that's very intentional. Feeding that to our bodies is really really important in this timeline. Peace, sister, you stirring up people's demons. The deep state trolls me with government emergency vehicle sirens and their contractors' loud cars when I'm in the field doing a live stream. I mean, it's the interesting thing about it on a spiritual level. It doesn't even have to be the deep state. It can be, the like I say in the algorithms, the AI algorithm now sort of mirroring the mindset and mentality of the people who created it. Well, what's the intention behind the people who created it? Because if I got trolls and bots, think about a bot. A bot is a basically a program that is programmed to cause disruption in chat rooms, right? So you program it with that intention, and what does it do? It causes disruptions in chat rooms, right? But beyond that, because the disruption or the bot, whether it's real or not, can trigger the person on the other end. It could trigger somebody in the chat room if they say the wrong thing, right? And so now the triggering, the frustration, the anxiety, the backlash, the back and forth conversation, the magnifying, the dissent, the discord, right, is where that if we say Satan or we say devil or we say low vibrational energy, that those entities or that state of consciousness is feeding off of that. So even if it does come from a synthetic source, and y'all know I've been talking about organic versus synthetic war for a long time now, we're in the height of that. So even if it comes from a synthetic source, the intention and the ultimate outcome is to harness and to pull from and extract from righteous organic energy, particularly the energy of the people of God. And if you say, well, who are the people of God? I say the chosen ones who choose themselves. And if that's too poetic for you, I don't know what to say because I'm a poet, you know? So it can be the deep state. It can be, I'm trying not to say so much to be cognizant of that. It can be the deep state, or it can just be that low vibrational frequency and energy that feeds on anxiety and depression and stress and fear and worry. And those are the building blocks of their society. That's why Hollywood is constantly harnessing that energy, because that's how Satan feeds itself on the souls of the righteous, on the light of the righteous. That's why they go after children, because of the innocence factor. But it's not just the innocence factor of children, it's the creativity and the passion and the love vibration and the high vibrational energies and states of consciousness of all of us. They want to take that because that's our power. They can't feed on that. God feeds on that. People like me feed on that. You guys watching this content, if I, when I'm talking about love and light and self-accountability and self-awareness, is my content is so different from most of what you see online, very intentionally. So if you resonate with that, if that's your energy, if that's your frequency, then yeah, you feed off of truth. You feed off of people, seeing people do well, seeing people eat, seeing people healthy, seeing people happy. It doesn't make you feel tightness in your stomach if you see somebody soaring or flying or shining or living in their truth. Am I telepathic? I would say so. Yes, in a number of different ways. Need you to drop that link one day soon, Miss Talking to You. Which link is that? For consultations? Did I celebrate yesterday? No, I don't celebrate holidays at all. I came to Baba's and ate some food, but I don't celebrate holidays at all. So no, no. I ate and I did some work and I got some rest. Why do you think they are doing things like removing dyes from food in the US now, but at the same time exposing bioengineered food ingredients? Because it's good cop, bad cop. Because they want you to think that your government is still working. Because they want you to think that the FDA and the C Charlie David Charlie, use those first three letters, that these institutions, the Democrats, the Republicans, the all of the tentacles of society, they want you to think they're still actively working on your behalf. This is why RFK is in the position that he's in right now in terms of the role that he's playing in this government, at the same time that Trump is the president, at the same time that they're talking about releasing mandates, specific mandates around the shot in one breath, but then in the next breath talking about creating a shot that cures cancer. Well, the shot that cures cancer is going to have the same thing that the shots that are causing mass heart attacks and extreme levels of death and mortality all across the world. So I wouldn't take any of them. I'm not taking any of them. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it to travel anywhere. Please grace us with some bars, a cappella, quick off the. Let me see. See, you put me on the spot because it's been so long since I just freestyled. Let me ponder that for a second. Um, let me ponder that for a second. But the point that I was making about, let me see. Somebody asked a question that I was. Oh, so this is a great question too. Thank you for asking it, sis. So, removing dyes. Oh, and this is the other thing I want to say, right? Thank you for saying that, asking that. So I'm gonna tap in with you guys in the chat room on Instagram in just a second if you have any questions. So I posted in my story about an article that came out in 2024 about them testing, giving the Jim Jones juice or the needle for Novid to cows across America. And I remember specifically during that time that they had confirmed that they had already inoculated hundreds of millions of cows. If you're in my membership channel, I covered this. I have the information because I talked about it in my news reports. But when I went back and looked at it recently, I couldn't find any of those sources, and these were mainstream sources. But what I did find was the article from 2024 where they said we are testing it, right? We're testing it. So this is the revelation. This is how they try to avoid karmic debt, by coming out and telling you the things that they're doing. In the same breath, they are actively right now, all of the world governments coming from behind the shadows and starting to talk about testing geoengineering, testing the idea of creating weather, for the sake of combating, the weather anomalies and the climate change. Climate change, yeah, the hoax. I'm being careful with my words, but they're actively and have been actively for the last couple of years talking about we're trying out to see what it would be like to block the sun. We're trying out to see what it would be like if we put up these particles in the upper atmosphere. And cloud seeding is the language that everybody is using now. But this is something that they have actively been doing for 30 years now.
Yeah.
And this is the intellectual part of me that always feels like they think we're stupid, and they treat humanity like they're stupid, because you've literally been doing this right in front of our eyes for 30 plus years now. And now you're making it mainstream to start talking to tell people that you're considering it when you've been doing it this whole time. So the article about the meat and the inoculating the cows, and where there was verification and proof online 2 years ago, is very hard to find it now. But they are telling you that they're testing it out. So this is why being cognizant of the meat that you buy now, if you still eat meat, is very critical. I saw David Banner talking about Erica Badu, inspiring him to go back to eat meat, after he had been vegetarian for a long time, based on his blood type. And I've heard that, people talk about that consistently over the years, and I understand the point of doing so. What I will say is that in the same way, we have to be careful about organic versus non-organic foods, etc., you really, really, really need to be mindful of where you're buying your meat from. If you're not buying halal, if you're not actively seeking out, meat producers and farmers that are producing meat in a halal capacity, then you can be a victim vicariously because, again, the spiritual warfare is being manifested in 1,000 different ways. Yes, the Hegelian dialectic principle for sure. So that's why it's good cop is bad cop. It's, I think there's 3 states right now that have chemtrails in the legislature in terms of stopping it. So in its mainstream media, they have a Amazon documentary coming out now where they're acknowledging that this is happening, openly acknowledging that it's happening, right? So it looks like, yes, the truth is coming out, but the truth has been out this whole time. All they're doing now is publicly making it clear, yes, we have the science, yes, we have this technology, because we believe we've mastered it. The same way when they blew up the Georgia Guidestones, which nobody talks about anymore. We never figured out who did that. That just poofed into thin air, like it wasn't something major. They blew up the Georgia Guidestones because they met their quota. They're telling us that in Amazon and in mainstream that they have been spraying this stuff in the sky and what it actually does because they feel like they have perfected the science and the technology. And I have talked about owning the weather by 2025. That document, I've been talking about that for 15 years now. It's 2025 now. So Satan has come from behind the curtains in 2020. He came from behind the curtains. He told you to stand 6 feet apart. He told you to wear a face mask. He told you to put poison in your body. He told you that if you didn't have any symptoms, that was a symptom. He told you couldn't touch your family members. He told you to ostracize the people around you that wouldn't conform. He told you couldn't work if you didn't take a shot. He told you couldn't travel if you couldn't take a shot. How many of us have the mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical fortitude to say no? And how many of us are going to have that fortitude moving forward to say no? Are you still creating a book writing program? I am. I'm right now finishing my teacher's edition to Ancient People. I've been doing a lot of groundwork here in the LA area. I'm trying to get my book into the LAUSD school system. And in the meetings that I've had and the networking that I've done, I've realized how important a curriculum for these teachers to have is. And so it really kind of fine-tuned where my focus was, because my original idea of a teacher's edition versus what I'm creating now, it's a lot more involved, it's a lot more detailed, and it's tedious. And it's one of those things that I have to really, really zone out to complete. Otherwise, I'll look up and 6 months will pass. So that's where my 100% focus is right now. But that, as well as creating Ancient People, all of that stuff, I've been collecting the data and the information from the experience, because I've learned so much from creating a textbook now. It's a whole nother body of information and knowledge that I'm going to be able to share in the publishing course. But yes, the short answer is yes, and it's going to be a self-publishing course teaching you everything from beginning to end, how to go from I want to write a book to the sort of skeleton stages of creating the skeleton version, and then filling in the gaps, and then creating chapters, and then building the actual book, the formatting, the editing, the ISBN process, copywriting, trademarking, the different websites that are going to be key resources for you to make sure that you have the right, coding, that you're tapped in all of the different ways of the publishing industry, marketing, advertising, a writing course, all of that. Yes, I am. And I just got to do it right. Because once I do it, it's over. But yes, and that writing course is going to include a online group where you'll have access to ongoing resources and content and people that are also writing their own book. Or it's also a great line of business that you can go into, even if you're not a writer. If you learn how to publish books from beginning to end. My first book, Black Matters Volume 1, I paid an independent contractor who does what I do now, $1,500. to produce my book for me, to do the formatting, to do the, getting it up on Amazon, which all that stuff is going to be included in the course. How to purchase barcodes, how to use scan codes, how to, all of the things. I paid somebody $1,500 to do that for one book. I've written 7 books now, and the 6 books later, I only paid one person one time to do that for me. So just imagine if I was still paying somebody every single time I publish a book, that is a viable source of income. So I'm also going to be teaching it from that business vantage point of owning and running a publishing company, or just being an independent contractor who is, sort of running your business, doing the logistics of publishing a book. So yes, thank you for that question. That makes sense. I see a lot of people are falling for the good cop. Yes, for sure. I only buy grass-fed for iron from local farms in Georgia. Frequent parasite cleanses too. Yeah, the parasite cleanses, especially if you eat meat, for all of us, but especially if you eat meat consistently, is critical. I got caught up in the organic versus non-organic. I was the most inflamed eating organic foods. I love the halal options now. Well, yeah, and not so much being caught up in the organic, but understanding what the conventional versus the genetically modified, produce, what that entails. I recorded on my phone, but I didn't post it. But I was showing the difference between the conventional apples, which are covered with this wax, which makes the apples really, really shiny, versus the organic, and how the organic had that regular sort of hue. It wasn't, just coated with wax. And so I was just showing the physical difference in representation. And sometimes you'll see conventional produce that doesn't necessarily have that shine to it, but that shine is something to pay attention to, right? That's a toxin that is covering your food. So yeah, it's not so much about organic versus conventional, but if you have local farmers that are producing organic food and produce, that would be my number one choice and priority over anything, less meat, more energy. I agree with that 100%. I can't speak for everybody. I can't, it's a case by case scenario, because everything just isn't the same for everybody. But for me, the less I eat and the cleaner my diet is, the higher my vibration. And I have enough, 46 years on the planet, and 46 years of lifetime and experience. I can say that for sure. Dry fasting, I don't really dry fast a lot, but I do eat 1 meal a day. So that's intermittent fasting, and then doing the 3-day fast once a month. Let me tap in with Instagram, because I'm just ignoring my Instagram page, and I know you guys are here. They just approved that new pesticide on our vegetables. I wonder if you're talking about the Bill Gates appeal. That's been approved for some time now, and now they've taken it off the market, and they're making it seem like they took it off the market because of the protesting and the backlash. But what it really is that they took it off of the market so that they could go back in and rebrand it and change some of the specifics about how it's marketed and represented, so they can put it back on the market. But they weren't forced to do that. They did that on their own. Is your book, Ancient People, available for shipping to Malaysia? Yes, it is. And if you want to take advantage of the sale, you should definitely purchase your copy ASAP. If you go onto my website and check, you should be able to find your particular area in the world when you get to the shipping section. If it's not there, send me an email, info@zazaali.com, because all I have to do is just check the price. I can go beyond the website and the shipping information that's labeled there, and I can check with UPS and check with the postal service and see what the least expensive way is to ship it to you there. But yes, we do ship all over the world, and it might already be on my website. Peace, ZaZa from Vegas. Ever since coming across you live on YouTube interview from Out of Darkness with Kaba, I've been absorbing much wisdom from you. Gratitude pouring into us. Ashe. Much love, Terrell. I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for tapping in. And I had such a wonderful experience in that interview with Kaba Kameni. I just sent him a copy of my book. So he replied to me already. I have to respond to him now that I think about it. But yeah, he is one of those beacons and beings of light among us that is definitely a grid and an energy stabilizer. Do you feel the world is healing and getting better? I think that a percentage of people in the world are raising their vibration and raising their consciousness and finding a center within themselves, which is the real power source. And I think that they are maintaining the frequency of the grid of our planet. So normally we say 85, 10, 5. 85% of the people are deaf, dumb, and blind. 10% are bloodsuckers of the poor. 5% are the true and righteous teachers. Um, I think that number is actually 5.5, 5% of 5%, but whatever it is, those ones that are actively striving for the light and striving to raise the bar on consciousness within themselves are the ones that are doing the healing, are the ones that are getting better and expanding and growing, which is what we came here for. I was talking to my client earlier today, and she was talking about how the frustration of, maybe not meeting her potential, not doing all the things that she wanted to do in her lifetime and whatnot. And I had to go auntie on her, right? Because no, the process of wins and losses, of successes and failures, of trying, of falling, right? Of getting your heart broken, of choosing the wrong man, choosing the wrong woman, of trial and error in business. I did this and it didn't work. I failed at this, or I didn't meet my full potential. All of those experiences is what we came here for. We came here to get into the nitty gritty of the human experience, and it's messy and it's chaotic. When I did the KBLA interview, and we had this conversation, and I'm just being me. So mostly everything I talk about is always going to come back to the self, right? Self-awareness, self-accountability. So that's not really that sexy, right? And so by the end of the interview, she mentioned that the subtitle for the show was something dealing with mess, right? Like talking messy conversations. And she was like, well, I have enjoyed this conversation that much. And I have to say, it really wasn't messy at all. And I chuckled, right? We both laughed. It was a cute moment, but I chuckled on the inside. I was thinking, damn, I didn't give her any, I didn't give her any pizzazz. I didn't give it any, any extra oomph or any sauce or whatnot, right? Because in spiritual warfare, it's like, well, let me take that off the table. Take the spiritual warfare thing off the table. Really, we talk about the male-female dichotomy. It would be so much easier for us to have these conversations and to have a meeting of the minds if we all just took self-accountability. If women just closed the door and said, we got a lot of shit to work on. We are dropping the ball in all of these different ways, and our daughters are, going through a lot, and we're not there. And the perspective and the reputation of Black women is being, harmed or impacted by said things. And, we got sexual trauma and abuse and ongoing chaos and lack of emotional control and all of the things, our diet, our health, our well-being. We really need to get on top of our game. And if the men all closed the door and said the same thing, the devil would be losing all the way around. So that's where, but I've said all of that to say, in my mind, after I thought that, my next thought was, well, no, the mess is in the real life shit. The mess is in trying to fix the relationship. The mess is in trying to get over your trauma. The mess is in taking, self-accountability in real time, apologizing when you know you're wrong, dealing with your shortcomings, dealing with your lower nature, So I hope I answered your question. Rambling Makita style, I think that says. What's up, cousin ZaZa? Peace, what's good? I'm live, you guys, right now in, wait, did I see? Hold on. Okay, yeah, I'm live right now at Baba's Vegan Cafe in South LA and off of 67th and Western. I have my book set up here. I'm running a sale for today for Black Friday as well as this weekend. Ancient People, the hardcover version is $99. It regularly retails for $144. The paperback version, which is a beautiful turquoise, wonderful updated version without the spiral spine, is on sale right now for $88. I'm running that sale all weekend long. So if you're looking for a perfect gift for somebody that loves gifts and you don't know what to get them, or an intellectual, or somebody that loves Black culture, Black history, Black love, all of the things, then that's what this book represents. And it's a great gift. And it is a love offering, again, from me to not only our people, but to people all over the world. You know, I had a great conversation with this Turkish couple last week, who we were talking about my book, and they could barely speak English, right? So we're just kind of talking about history and the importance of history and the Moors, right? Because Turkish people have had a different experience with what we call the Moors, and that history and that Islamic history. But she just was telling me that she had talked to her parents about the book and how impressed they were. And mind you, everybody in the book is dark skinned. Everybody in the book is Black. Everybody in the book is melanated. So we say, how do we curb racism? How do we change the dichotomy of racism? By taking our respect back, by taking our history back, by becoming, literary giants, by becoming giants in different industries and fields, by thinking outside the box, by, again, the way we carry ourselves, our energetic resonance, which is why a space like Baba's Vegan Cafe and plant-based food and high vibrational plant-based food is important. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and there is a billion ways to skin this cat that we think of as racism, white supremacy. It's 4:40 right now, so it's right around the peak of traffic. So you're going to hear way more activity outside. We're right off of Western, so hopefully it's not intruding with my voice. But I think that adds to the drama of the space, if you will. Because this is the heart of traffic, the height of traffic time. But that's how we change it. We can't be Black versions of white people and want to be Black supremacists. You can do whatever you want to do, but if we're trying to, win a spiritual war, which is what this is, then the goals have to be a little bit different. I want to gift it to myself. Well, Parker, Terrell, now is the time to gift it to yourself, because you will save a lot of money if you just go right to my website and purchase it right now. Shout out to Sunkiss, shout out to Fort Mac, The Womb is Fem, Mr. Intelligence, Kimberly, Demarcus, everybody in the chat room. Nicole, what's good, sis? Mr. Daps, Life Visions, Billionaire. What does that say? Billionaire, Billion Slave, Wiz the Biz, everybody in the chat room on Instagram. Let me come back to YouTube and see how you guys are doing. And again, I'm live right now at Baba's Vegan Cafe. You see the activity and hear the activity behind me and around me. Any thoughts on fracking? That's a big question. Is there a particular question when it comes to fracking? A bookstore garden was just built in Vegas. That sounds dope. That hamster wheel bar you dropped the other day been in my head. I've been repeating it to family and friends. Yeah, and so the hamster wheel of the world, the debt, the fear-based consciousness, there's not enough good men, there's not enough good women, the racial dichotomy and the white supremacy actually being a thing, the limitations, the lack-based consciousness, the scarcity-based consciousness, right? That's a hamster wheel. And then there is the individual hamster wheel. My father never loved me. My mother wasn't emotionally available for me. I don't believe in myself because nobody believes in me. I don't think I can do it. I'm not good enough. I got self-worth issues. I chose the wrong man. I've been married 3 times. I got 2 baby daddies. My baby mama hates me. All that shit that be rumbling around in our heads, like that hamster wheel. I'm never going to be good enough. My business is never going to succeed. I'm never going to finish this course. I'm never going to get this degree. Like all of that mental hamster wheel. So there's actually 2 at play. That's the macrocosm and the microcosm. And I decided a long time ago, I'm getting off this hamster wheel. You are not going to control my mind. You are not going to control my energetic resonance. Now that's a day-to-day. Think about Judas and Jesus and the concept of these archetypes. That's how that breaks down to us individually. Which are you going to be, Judas or Jesus today? You know, like the Native American proverb, each man has two wolves inside of him. The question is, which one will he feed? Well, what wolf are you feeding on a continuous basis? Is it the higher self that wants to be self-employed, that wants to be in a high vibrational marriage or relationship, that wants to eat well, that wants to live a vibrant life, that wants to follow your dreams and your passions and goals, that wants to connect to source, that wants to connect to God? Or is it your lower nature that's constantly sabotaging you and doubting yourself and, claiming to depression or tethering yourself to depression or tethering yourself to energy vampires and people that don't mean you good and a lifestyle that doesn't mean you good? We know if you're healthy based on your skincare and the quality of your skin. We can tell how good you eat. We know if you are taking care of yourself emotionally based on how you treat other people. We know that you are physically taking care of your inner body if you have a physical representation of health and well-being, right? It's like somebody asked me what my skincare routine is, because I'm consistently on top of my game with taking care of myself. So my skin is a reflection of that. It could be a reflection of something else, and it has been at other points in my life when I wasn't taking care of myself. My posture is a representation of the fact that I take care of myself. Right? So you can tell through your physical body, things about your spiritual, emotional, and physical well-being. I know when I fast, and I'm probably going to be doing a fast in these next couple of days, but when I fast, it's a whole different sort of magnetism, and people are drawn to me in a different type of way because the energy is a lot less dense and it's a lot lighter. I thought the live reset out here, getting my steps in and listening. Much love. I appreciate you for that. Elon Musk says working will be optional in 10 to 20 years because of AI. It will be for the NPCs. It will be for people that don't have sovereign minds, that believe that. It will be. May 43 blessings reach you. May 43 blessings reach you from the north, from the south, and the east, and from the heavens, and bless your life experience here. Much love. I appreciate that. I receive that. Breathing techniques is important also. Yeah, that's why I'm always talking about yoga too, because the breathing techniques coupled with the physical movement of the body is one of those ways to unlock the master keys, the master coding within yourself, yoga. But then also Reiki, but then also Tai Chi, right? Martial arts, dance, right? Ballet, drumming. There's a lot of physical ways where you can tap into that energy and have the physical body and the breath sort of in harmony and having that synchronicity. Would you be inclined to speak on the ADOS FBA? Would you be inclined to speak on the ADOS FBA versus Pan-African debate? Wait, did that show up on my screen? Oh, it showed up at top. Okay. So I have the screen. I'm on the not the regular wide one, but the slim one, phone type setting. So I couldn't see it. So I've talked about this in a video before. I have a whole video where I really went into this in depth, so I'm not going to get into in depth about it. For me right now, I'm trying to align with people that are mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically focused in a certain type of direction. And I'm not trying to be aligned with anything that is rooted in discord or discontent or low vibration energies or antagonizing, triggering, finger pointing, lack of personal responsibility and focus and accountability. I'm trying to stay away from anything that falls under that banner. So that's what I think about that. I already have your mind, Delilah. No, you have a comment in my chat room. That's about all you have. What will your fast consist of and how long? Just water and tea, and it'll be 3 days. And today is Friday. I actually might start it tomorrow because I ate a good meal today. And I ate a good meal today, and I got a message. Hold on. I ate a good meal today, and I did my 1 meal a day. So this would be a good time to start and probably do 3 days. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and break my fast. Would that be Tuesday? All day, Friday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, Sunday to Monday. So I'll break my fast Monday evening. Water and tea is what it will consist of. Mhm. Yeah, you know I got jokes and I'm with the shit, so don't play with me. If you have something else to say, you can hit my chat with my Cash App, and I'll highlight your commentary. Okay. We also have a plant-based restaurant in Vegas called Down to Earth. Plant-based cuisine. If you're ever in town, stop by for a meal on the house. Ask for Terrell. I will definitely hold you to that. Pieces. Thank you for these high vibrations. Where did you get the blue light glasses? These aren't actually blue light glasses. They're just some regular glasses I bought from one of the sunglass stores. But I bought it like probably 10 years ago. And of all the glasses I have, these are the only ones that I really still wear. So, yeah, they're from Vogue. Vogue is the name of the brand that created them. But I love these so much because they're so just me. They're simple, but they're red. And, you know, you can kind of see my eyes, but then you can't all the way see them. So that's why I really like them. Yeah. So once again, you guys, I am running a special right now, and I'm at Baba's Vegan Cafe, and we have been highlighting and emphasizing supporting Black businesses and maintaining consistent support of Black businesses, and specifically in an environment like this. Space is open to the community. I'm doing once a month event here. My next event here is December 13th. It is no cover charge. You can come and sit and break bread and listen and be heard and be a part of a conversation and a vibration with us here all together. That's Saturday, December 13th. Doors open at 4 o'clock. We'll get started around 5. We'll probably finish around 7:30, 8. But this is a space where we can come together as a community and eat well and eat, drink, and be merry, you know, but at the same time have real conversations about real shit and the realities of what we're all sort of dealing with in our different ways. So Baba's Vegan Cafe on 67th and Western, Saturday, December the 13th. And again, I have a special on all of my books today for Black Friday. Not the consumer Black Friday, but the Black Friday, like I'm Black, you're Black, we support Black, we love Black, we represent Black. All of my content is surrounded by our experience here in America, and I'm serious about that. So, and building that and building institutions based around those things. So everything is on sale that I put in the description. And thank you guys so much for the support in the super chats. And thank you, Societe, for the Cash App love. I appreciate you nonetheless. And all of you guys for tuning in and being present with me. I never take it for granted that I can turn on this camera and have an audience and people actually be interested in what I have to say. So ZaZaAli.com is my website. There's a police car passing by right now, so let me just do that. Let them do their thing. ZaZaAli.com is my website. info@ZaZaAli.com is my email address, and you can get all the contact information and all of the things there. Do I have any health products for sale? No, but if you're in LA, you can go to Napoli Natural in Leimert Park. You can go to Simply Wholesome. You can go to, I forget the name of the other store in New Haven Products, I think, or New Earth Products. The store is over there in Compton. Don't quote me on the name of it, but there are several places in the LA area where you can get health and well-being products. He does have products here, though, like, you know, soaps and lotions and incense and body butters and things like that you can get here at Baba's Vegan Cafe, but most importantly, the food. So yeah, thank you guys so much for your time, for your energy, for your attention, and I will see you beautiful people very soon. Peace. I'm at Baba's Vegan Cafe, 67th and Western in Los Angeles, and we're doing our next event here on Saturday, December 13th. Doors open at 4 o'clock, and I hope to see you guys there. And again, specials on all of my books. They're here. If you want to come by, you can purchase and I will sign it for you and you can have the direct plug and direct access. Sale is going to last all this weekend. And yeah, if you wanted to get a copy of one of my books, now is the time because you will save a lot of money this weekend. All right. Peace and love.